Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Jayda InStitches show, and welcome to another live stream. We are going to get crafty today. We are continuing with our little Farm Friends 10th anniversary celebration. We created an ebook of our little farm friends, our little horse, chicken, pig, and cow, a barn, and a whole bunch of little goodies. 10 years ago, we created this little ebook. It's been up in the shop for 10 years. We've recently refreshed it, and we thought, as part of the celebration, we would work our way through the little animals. So rather than just do the usual, we made our chicken and our cow already. So we'll make sure there's links to those live streams in the description box down below. But instead of doing the small version, we actually did the big plushy version. So here's our big plushy chicken and our big plushy cow. Oh my gosh, I just love this. I love her little face. She's so cute. And of course, today we are going to continue. This is the little pig. If you want to make the little pig with today's pattern, you want size 4 medium weight acrylic yarn. About maybe 50 yard, probably less than that for the pig. It's all pink. And a little bit of yarn, thin yarn or embroidery floss for the nose, and then a couple of little eyes, a couple of black beads. That's all I've used there, but it's mostly he's just all pink. Size 4 millimeter hook, or a G6. That's for the small version of the pig, the Amigurumi version. Hook and your yarn needle, pair of scissors. If you want to make the super plushy version, however, that I'm going to do today, I'm using pink blanket yarn. That's that super bulky size 6 yarn. Less than a yard of a regular size 4 medium weight black. That's just, again, for the little detail on the nose. But, you know, any black yarn or embroidery floss will do. If you had to, you can always double up embroidery floss. Not a big deal. I'm using an L or 11 hook. This is an 8 millimeter hook. That's what I'm using for the big plushie. I have a big-eyed needle, a couple of black beads for his eyes. Oops, come here you. And of course you're going to need some stuffing. I'm going to be using more chopped up fabric today, but you can use pillow stuffing. And in order to stitch in your eyes, needle and thread. And once you've got all that together, we can get started. I would like to just re-welcome Tammy. It was a re-welcome of joining the family. Thank you, Tammy. Welcome, welcome. And to everybody else, oh my goodness, and there's Victoria with a membership milestone. Victoria's been a member for 15 months. Says, good morning, Jayda and Mr. InStitches and Penelope. Pumpkin Pineapple, you remembered her whole name on this beautiful Monday. Thank you, Victoria. And Mr. InStitches gifted 5 memberships. Thank you, sweetheart. A little something for everybody here in the chat. Let's see who won. We have Vaz, Martha, D, Sabrosa, and Jackie. Congratulations. Welcome to and welcome back to the family. All right, let's get started. I'm going to put my little black out of the way. I'm going to put my smaller hook and needle out of the way because I don't need that. I'm going to get the eyes in a spot where it's not going to be likely that they'll go running away on me. And I'm going to unravel some of my blanket yarn. Let's get started. This is a single crochet project. I'm going to be using the plushy weight yarn. If you want to use the medium size 4 acrylic, it's the exact same pattern. There's nothing you need to do. We're going to start with his body, and we're going to make this little tubby tube shape. We're going to start with a cinch circle. So yarn around your fingers to make a loop. Hook goes through the loop. Grab your yarn, pull up a loop on your hook, and chain 1. That secures your circle. You can fiddle around with it now. Get that little short tail out of the way. You do not have to weave in your short tails. Just leave them to the back, because you will be turning it so that it's inside the pig anyway. We're going to work 7 single crochet into that cinch circle over top of that short tail. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, one more, 7. So again, if you're new to plushy yarn, you can grab that tail, cinch it up nice and tight. Do not join your row. We are going to be working in the round, which reminds me, a stitch marker was probably a handy thing for this too. This is where the stitches are. They're not always that easy to see with the plush weight yarn, but you can feel for them. And once you get used to sort of using the yarn, you will be able to see them. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 7. So I'm going to leave my little short tail to the back. I'm not going to bother working over top of it. We are going to work directly into what was the first stitch of row 1. As we begin row 2, I'm going to engage my stitch marker, and that is basically working in the rounds. You don't join the rows with a slip stitch. You don't chain 1 to start a new row. You're just constantly working in a circle. It creates a bit of a spiral, but more importantly, no seam. So we're going to work 2 single crochet into each stitch all the way around. I'm going to get my first 2 stitches in, put my stitch marker on stitch number 1. That way I know where it is, and I can sort of turn my brain off and just focus on finding the next stitch to work 2 single crochet into. Debbie asks how the mister is feeling. He had a bit of a bad headache last week. He's much better. Thank you very much for asking. He's definitely on puppy duty today. 2 single crochet into each stitch all the way around. I'm gonna unravel some more yarn here. I decided I wasn't going to bother trying to find the inside part of this ball of yarn just yet. I'm just going to unravel the yarn as I need it from the outside as I go here. And once I've done that, it'll loosen up the ball a little bit and I'll be able to find the inside for a later project. At the end of row 2, you should have 14 stitches all the way around. For row 3, we're going to continue to increase. 2 single crochet into the first stitch to begin row 3. I'm going to put my stitch marker back on stitch number 1, and then 1 single crochet into the next stitch. And that's the repeater all the way around. 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, etc. Back to your stitch marker. And that will bring us up to 21 stitches at the end of row 3. There we go. So at the end of row 3, 21 stitches, and that's from the increased pattern of 2 single crochet, 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet, 1 single crochet, all the way around. I'm back to my stitch marker. That means it's time to start row 4. 2 single crochet to begin row 4. We are still increasing. I'm going to put my stitch marker back on the first stitch of row 4. Single crochet once into each of the next 2 stitches. So it's your standard increase pattern. 2 single crochet into the next stitch, and then single crochet once into each of the next 2. 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, all the way around, back to your stitch marker. That will bring us up to 28 stitches, and that's where we're going to stay as we crochet straight for several rows. So 2 single crochet, and then 1 single crochet into each of the next 2. I need a little bit of slack on my yarn here. See, a lot of you are on yarn diets this year. I did the try not to buy any yarn for a year challenge several years ago, and I was fairly successful. I ended up buying yarn on December 24th as a little kind of gift to myself. But past that, I didn't buy any all year long, and I still have a lot of that yarn that I bought that year. On the 24th. Not that I bought a tremendous amount. It's just that I think, like, I collect yarn. When I see something I like, I buy it. I try not to go yarn shopping all that often. I do have a lot of yarn though, because I've been collecting it for so many years. And because I've, been crocheting and knitting since I was quite young. And then people, find out that you crochet or that you knit, and they give you yarn, they give you thread. So quite a lot of what's in my stash hasn't kind of come to me because of me. It's come to me from other people. And I really do want to try and work through all of that. But every once in a while, you'll wind up with a whole lot of yarn that's maybe not really anything you can use, or it's a very specific yarn that doesn't really go well with anything else. Like, I like yarn that all kind of works together. So I do have a lot of that in the stash, and I am busy trying to find projects to use up all that sort of odd yarn on. And I am trying to only buy what I need for the foreseeable future. So I'm right there with you guys. All right, that was the end of row 4. I've got 28 stitches all the way around. I'm back to my stitch marker. Now for rows 5 through row 10, I just want to single crochet in each stitch all the way around. So we're just single crocheting straight. So I'm going to work the first 2 stitches of the row. Now I'm not increasing anymore. It's just a single crochet in each stitch all the way around. I'm going to continue to keep my stitch marker on the first stitch of the row, just so I can kind of turn my brain off, crochet quickly, 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way around. I'm still going to have a stitch count of 28 at the end of row 5, row 6, row 7, row 8, row 9, and row 10. So 6 full rows of just straight single crochet, and row 5 we'll start to turn it into a little bit of a bowl shape because I have fairly even tension. If you're working row 5 and your little circle isn't turning into a bowl quite yet, don't worry, that's common. Sometimes on the first row of just straight single crochet, it doesn't turn, and that's because you maybe have slightly looser tension. It will eventually, so don't worry about it. I'm going to start to sort of turn it into a bit of a bowl shape. That was row 5. I'm starting row 6. I like to get the first 2 stitches in before I put my stitch marker back on. And now I can zip along here. Welcome everybody, welcome back. It is hard to believe we are 10 days into March already. Kind of a stunner. Speaking of March and the spring and the project we're working on, I want to take a moment just to remind everybody that today's Farm Friends Pig is a written pattern in our Etsy shop. It's actually combined with our Farm Friends Chicken. You can buy that pattern, just the 2 of them together, or you can buy the entire Farm Friends ebook. It's our 10th anniversary edition of it. It's available in the Etsy shop. You'll find it up top in the featured listings, both the entire ebook and just the pig and chicken pattern. So if you want to pick that up and help support the show, it's on sneaky sale today. So thank you very much if you do, and to everybody who has already. I really appreciate it. And furthermore, last Monday, we did a little super chat goal for fun. We thought we would try the super chat goal thing. We hit it, and we had a little a poll later on. What we did was we were trying to come up with names for the cow. I wrote down everybody's suggestions, and then I included them all in a word search that we published later on our posts tab on the YouTube channel because we hit our little goal. And that was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed putting together that little word search for everybody. We thought we would try that again because we have yet another little critter here. And I will, as soon as I guess we get a little bit of a face going, we'll start maybe taking some names for our little piglet. And I think I'd like to try and do the same thing. So if you guys are in the mood to throw a super chat in our direction, we've got a little goal set up. And if we reach the goal, then I will do another word search for everybody. And that will go up later today. And a big thank you to everybody for supporting the show. All right, I think I just finished row 7. Let me count up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, that was row 7. So I'm starting row 8, still single crocheting in each stitch all the way around. I'm going to keep that little stitch marker going. And you can see I'm definitely getting like a real bowl shape. So this is the little body of our pig. And I'm going to get some more slack on my pink yarn here. Masha, thank you. Masha has kicked off the super chats. Thank you so much, Masha. Masha says, I'm glad the mister is feeling better. It's warmer. Yay. I'm still in a sweater though. Agreed. The sun is feeling warmer. I am though still in a hoodie actually, and sometimes I even put the hood up over my head. It was very cold here the last couple of days, but it's warming up. So I really hope that's the trend and that it continues in that direction because I am done with winter. I would like to see all this snow and ice disappear. I'd like to be able to take my poor dog for a walk. It's kind of tricky because the drifts are still pretty big in some places, and I'm not comfortable walking on the road with a tiny little dog, so I gotta Wait till the snow's gone and we have some sidewalks back. All right, I think that was row 8. I'm starting row 9. I'm gonna get the first couple of stitches in. Put the stitch marker back. And now you can sort of see as I crochet, sometimes when I'm working on a piece like this, I find it helps, especially when it's soft, slippery kind of yarn, to sort of let it sit on the work surface, and it kind of spins, like it sort of makes it easier. It takes the, like it's not hanging off the hook, so I don't have to worry about holding the weight of it. Not that this is very heavy, but it's soft, so it sort of spins comfortably on the work surface, and I feel like that just makes it easier to crochet. It also helps me kind of create that nice round shape a little better. Crocus says she can see the grass in the backyard. That's nice. Mr. InStitches has gifted another 5 memberships. Thank you, Mr. InStitches. What a sweetie. That's actually from Penny. Congratulations to Aria, Collie, Ivana, Amy, and anybody else? There must be one more person coming. Congratulations, welcome to and welcome back to the family. Joanna says she can see the front yard. I still have snow everywhere. Snow, snow, snow. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That was row 9. I'm starting row 10. This will be the last row of straight single crochet where I single crochet in each stitch all the way around. I still have 28 stitches at the end of each of these rows. I have not increased. I will begin decreasing, however, for row 11. I really like how soft and fluffy this is. I also really like the color of this pink. It is a really nice pinky color. Oops. Sandra says she's going to have to buy some bulky yarn. Arm twisted. Yes, I know. Back when we made the Farm Friends series, we didn't have stuff like this super fluffy bulky weight yarn. There was bulky yarn out there. The first big amigurumi we ever made on the channel was our magical baby unicorn, and I used something called Red Heart Bulky for that, and it is a size 6 super bulky weight yarn, but it was 100% acrylic and it was very stiff. I still have some in the stash. I really like it, and they stopped making it, which is too bad, but it's almost like they were just a little bit ahead of the trend, a little bit ahead of their time with that. I kind of hope they bring it back, because as much as I love this soft chenille bulky weight yarn for making stuffed toys, I also really like the just a big thick acrylic that just basically upsizes an amigurumi, and you can still see your stitches really, really clearly. I kind of like the way that looks too. They both have their place. So I really hope they kind of bring that back. If you need to count your rows, you look for the first row down here and just count the bumps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Also, you're probably going to notice that as you're increasing and working rows in the round, where your first stitch, row 1 turned into row 2, it kind of, your first stitch of the row migrates backwards. So it's always good to just put a few stitches in. I'm going to single crochet, I don't know, 7 stitches here, maybe 8, just until I've evened out the top edge. And basically all you're doing is looking for where row 1 turns into row 2. Looks like that's about it right there. So track up, and that's basically where you want your last stitch to end. That evens up the top of your circle. There's my little short tail from where we started, stuffed into the middle. And that is all of the straight single crocheting for the body of the pig. Now we're going to start to decrease. You want to have your stuffing on standby, because we're going to start stuffing after a couple of rows, but let's do a little bit of decreasing first. We're going to do the single crochet 2 stitches together, single crochet once into each of the next 2, so it's the reverse of the last increase row. So the first 2 stitches get single crocheted together, and then single crochet normally into each of the next 2. You can do the traditional single crochet 2 stitches together where you pick up a loop in each stitch, yarn over, and pull back through all 3, or you can do the single crochet, it's kind of like the amigurumi single crochet 2 stitches together where you just pick up the front facing loops of each of the next 2 stitches on your hook, not picking up any loops until you've got both of those loops on your hook, and then you pick up a loop and single crochet. You can do that too. You can do either one. Single crochet as normal in the next 2, and then again pick up the loops of the next 2 stitches on your hook, yarn over, and single crochet. And I should probably have put my stitch marker back on the first stitch I did, so let me see here. That would be about what, here? Yeah, I think that's my first stitch where I stitched 2 together. And then it's all right though, if you ever get lost and you're not sure, do what you think is 1 full rotation and then count. You'll know if you decreased or increased too many times based on your stitch count. Hello, Caroline! Caroline here with a super chat. Thank you so much, Caroline. Caroline is helping with our super chat goal today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I forgot to, there we go, all the way down, make sure that I'm not losing anything. Now, that was 2 together, and now I'm doing single crochet 2 together. It's easy for me to lose track when I'm chit-chatting with everybody. So, still decreasing. I'm doing that sort of amigurumi decrease. I like that. But I feel like both of them work pretty nicely with the fluffy blanket weight yarn. And I should have 4 stitches left in the row. I do, so I got that correct. I did not put my stitch marker on the wrong stitch, so that makes me happy. Okay, so I'm just finishing off row 11 with the first decrease pattern of single crochet 2 stitches together and then single crochet once into each of the next 2 stitches. That brings us back down to 21 stitches. We're going to do another decrease before we start stuffing. So we're going to go from 21 stitches down to 14. You can really see it's starting to turn into a little body shape here. So we're going to single crochet 2 stitches together. So the first 2 stitches of the row get single crocheted together. I'm going to continue using that particular decrease. I'm going to put my stitch marker on that. That's the first stitch of the row now, and then single crochet once into the next stitch. And then we decrease again, single crochet 2 stitches together, single crochet once into the next stitch, and on repeat. This will take us down from 21 stitches to 14. I've had lots of you sending in your finished March on blanket photos to the Etsy shop. I just want to take a moment and thank you all because they are fantastic. We will share some of those a little later. We're still pretty early in March, so maybe in a week or so. But they're amazing, and I just want to thank everybody who's taken the time to share a photo. If you want to share a photo, you can click on the link to our Etsy shop in the description box down below. Click on Contact or Message Seller. And then you can opt to add a little photo to your message. If you're on a computer or a laptop, it's the little landscape icon in the top right hand corner of the message box. If you're on a mobile device, just click the little camera icon and you can take a picture. And hello, Ronald and Kathy Jones. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Monday show with a sweet and generous super chat. Thank you so very much. Ronald and Kathy say, good morning, sweet cousins. Thanks for your sweet wake up. And glad to hear Mr. InStitches is feeling better. Love to Penny and to all. Stay warm and me and cozy and focused. Stay warm and me cozy and focused. Love Kathy and Ron. I love that. Stay warm, maybe stay warm, stay safe and cozy and focused. You know what? These are all good things. Stay warm, maybe stay warm with me. Thank you very much, Kathy and Ron. Really appreciate it. And there's Kevin with a membership milestone. Kevin's been a member for 11 months. Thank you, Kevin. Kevin says, hey, Jayda and everyone and Mr. InStitches. Hey, hey, hello, hello. And thank you all for being here. Oh my gosh. Okay. That is the end of row 14. We are down to, I'm sorry, that's the end of row 12. We're down to 14 stitches. That's what I meant. End of row 12. Now it's time to add some stuffing. So I've pulled up on my working loop and I've taken my stitch marker out of the way. We're going to just start putting some stuffing into the belly of our little piglet. And you want to get it to the very base, or what's going to probably be the face first. I've got all sorts of stuff. I've got some leftover polar fleece, I've got some fabric, and I'm just going to start kind of cramming all that in there. And then once I've got a good amount of it in there, I'm going to reach in and just sort of pat it all up to the front. Masha with another super chat. Thank you so much, Masha. Masha says, I vote for the name Piggykins. Oh, I like that. That's cute. Piggykins. Okay, I suppose I should start writing some of these down. Let me see here. Piggykins. That's cute. I like that very much. Yes, Mr. InStitches is puppy sitting. Oh, he's on his phone. Thank you, sweetie. Okay, so I've got some stuffing in there. I'm just sort of shuffling it around and stuffing it up to the very edge so that it's rounded. I want this is going to be the face of my piglet. Sort of what you're looking at here. This is going to be the face. The back end, we actually turn it right into the curly tail, so you don't have to worry about picking a side. That's going to be your face. So you make sure that your stuffing is in there nice and soft and smooth. All right, and I'm going to grab some more fabric. Excuse me. And just like I did last time, I'm just going to chop chunks of this fabric and stuff it into my piglet. I'm using leftover fabric from, I had a bed sheet. It was like one of those bed skirts. And this was the part of the bed skirt that sat underneath the what do you call that? The mattress. Never really used the skirt very much. I'm not much of a bed skirt kind of person. So it kind of came in a set. I've had it forever, and I just started taking it apart a little while ago because I realized that it's really good fabric and it's good for a lot of things, but this is very, very thin. So it makes good stuffing. And then of course you can just, satisfying rip sounds. And it's very, very light. So I recommend if you're using stuffing that's fabric, if it's a little heavier like t-shirt material, you want to use smaller pieces. But if it's really, really light like mine, you can sort of stuff it in, layer it into place, and then just kind of move it around with your fingers to make sure you get a round sort of look. I like using fabric, especially for larger amigurumi, because it's not going to come out between the spaces between your stitches. It's and it's nice and soft and light. And I think I could use a little bit more, so I'm gonna do another little slice here. Slice and rip. Ah, I love that sound. Pinky the pig. I will include that. Pinky. I mean, Pinky. It's definitely pink. Petunia. Oh, I like that. Petunia. Petunia the pig from Amanda. That's really cute. Crocus says, Jayda, you can hide more under your bed if you keep the skirt on. It's true, but I just don't like that. I just don't like that look. I don't know. I guess it comes and it goes. I had a bed skirt on my bed growing up, and I think I'm just sick of the way that looks. And I never really kept anything under the bed anyway. Plus, we have a dog that can fit under the bed, so I she likes to run under there, and I need to be able to clean under there. So I guess I just can't keep anything under the bed. So no skirt, nothing under the bed. It's just keeping it free and easy so I can get under there with the Swiffer. All right, I'm going to add a little bit more fabric after my next row of decrease. So I feel like that's enough. It's turned into a nice round pink ball. I just could sit here and squish this all day. We are going to go to the next row of decreasing, which is row 13. You're basically single crocheting 2 stitches together 7 times, or single crochet 2 stitches together all the way around. So I'm going to single crochet my first 2 stitches together. There we go. I'm going to put my stitch marker on. And now I just have to focus on single crocheting 2 stitches together all the way around. And then I will add a little bit more stuffing just before I close up the space here at the end. Piper the pig. Oh, that's cute. Pepper. Oh, these are good. Let me add those to the list. Pepper. Piper. A beard on a pig would be cute. Yeah, that would be cute. There we go. And two more. Pepia. Percy. Percy's a good one. Let me add that. We've got a lot of P. Everybody's thinking P names. Percy and Pepia. That's cute. Pigglesworth. Oh, I like that. Pigglesworth. And one more double crochet, two single crochet, two stitches together. All right. So that's down to 7 stitches all the way around. Now I can add a little bit more stuffing. Charlotte, obviously, that's a good one. Let me add that. Charlotte, a very famous pig name. You know what? Babe. I have to add Babe for going with famous pig names. I love the movie Babe. Babe was such a cute pig. Wilbur! Priscilla! Peppy! Oh, these are good. Ham. Oh my gosh. Okay. Let me write these down. Ham, Peppy. Ham. Peppy. Priscilla. With an S. Wilbur. Wilbur's a good name for a pig. Chuck. And Ms. Piggy! Oh my gosh, of course. Ms. Piggy. All right. Got this little bit more of fabric to just stuff in there. Roast. Okay. All right. I think that's enough. You don't want it to be overstuffed and you don't want it to be understuffed. So that feels like a good amount of stuffing to me. The last thing we want to do is just close up the little space, but we're not fastening off yet. So we're going to slip stitch around the post of each stitch. So this is really kind of a neat way to close up the hole. You basically stick your hook through the next stitch and then back out through the stitch after that. That puts the post of the stitch up on your hook and you can just slip stitch around it. And then you do it again. And this closes the space. And again. And you just do this through either all of the stitches from the previous row or until the space closes. You don't want a space or a hole at the end of your pig because you don't want any of your stuffing to come out. There we go. And if it's just a little tiny bit of space left, don't worry. You can slip your hook through the loops or the full stitches of a couple of stitches that sit opposite the circle to each other. Slip stitch. Don't fasten off because we're going to put his little tail on right away. So we're going straight to the tail. Once you've closed up the very back end, Precious and Peanut, Primrose. Oh, these are good. I got to add these too. Precious, Primrose, Peanut. We are going to, oh, and Papaya. Oh, that's cute. Papaya Pig. All right. In order to make our little tail, we're going to chain 7. Hello, hello. If you're just joining us, we're making a pig, the plush version of this little guy today. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining. Thank you for being a member. Thank you for being a subscriber. And just thank you for spending some time with us. Really appreciate it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 chains. And now we're going to skip the first chain from the hook with the fluffy yarn. It's not always that easy to see, but there's the little bump there. That's chain number 1. You're looking for the second chain from the hook. You're going to work 4 single crochet into it. Try not to let your little ball spin around. And then you're going to work 4 single crochet into each of those chains all the way back. It's going to get a little crowded. It's also going to want to twist on you. It's going to twist in a couple of different directions, so don't worry too much about the twisting of it until you've finished making all of those 4 single crochet into each chain all the way back. And I find if I keep the body sort of sitting on the work surface, it won't spin on me, which allows me to keep an eye on those chains. Runt, that's a good one. Miss Prissy Pig. All right, I think I got one more chain left here. Get my hook in there. There we go. All right, so once you've done 4 single crochet into each chain all the way back, you can just pause for a second, grab the end and just start twisting it away from you. And that will twist it into a coil, which will make it a little coily back tail, which just looks like a little curly pigtail. You can just slip stitch in anywhere at the base to secure that tail and then fasten off. So you don't really need much tail, but if you're worried about it undoing on you, then cut a decent length. And you can weave the tail in underneath a few stitches just to secure it, and then pull the rest into the body. And if you still have a little bit of a space sort of showing here, then you can use that tail to cinch up the space. Ronald and Kathy, members for 44 months. Hello, hello, with a membership milestone. Paprika is cute, or saffron. Oh, I like that. Naming a pig after spices. Paprika and saffron. I will add those too. Paprika and saffron. Those are cute. Thank you. Pumpernickel. Oh, that's cute. Pumpernickel. Pumpernickel. I think it's funny how we're all kind of going with food names. Miss Pigworthy. Spicy pig. Truffles! Oh, that's such a cute idea. Truffles. I'll write that down too. Spicy pig. All right, once you've finished weaving in the tail, as much as you think it's necessary, you can just pull the rest of it into the body. I like to take my needle into the body, out through another little space, and then just wiggle my needle back and forth, grabbing that tail and pulling it into the body. And there we go. We've got a body. Joan, thank you for picking up a pattern at the shop. Thank you so much. We've got a little body and a curly tail, which is just appropriate for our little piglet. And just to give you a size comparison now, full size Amigurumi piglet, and then this is just the body of the plush size. So pretty much double the size. So if you use the plush yarn, you're going to double up the size of the regular Amigurumi with no change required to the actual pattern. Goodness me, Plume, thank you so much for picking up a pattern. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Goodness me, Jackie's watching from Cozumel. Well, hello, that must be nice weather. At least I certainly hope it is. I'm sure it's warmer than it is here. All right, that was the body and the tail. Now we're going to do the snout. All the other pieces are pretty small. So a little word about the snout. If you're doing the Amigurumi version with the size 4 medium weight yarn, then I recommend you do the slips, you do the single crochet around the post for row 2, and I'll explain that in a moment. It may or may not be necessary with the plush yarn because it may or may not show. So we're going to do a little experiment here. Let me just make sure you guys can see what I'm doing. All right, we're going to make another cinch circle. So we're starting the snout with a cinch circle, excuse me. And we're going to work 6 single crochet into that cinch circle before we do anything else. Posy, Posy Pig. Let me get my 6 single crochet into my little cinch circle here. You're going to cinch it up nice and tightly. You're not joining. I'm just going to write down that new name. Posy. Miss Priss. That's cute too. Miss Priss. It's what we often call Penelope, our little puppy. Piggly Wiggly. All right, so 6 single crochet into the cinch circle for the snout to begin. That's row 1. Cinch it up nice and tightly. We are going to join the row. So we're joining the row, and this is the reason why. We're joining the row, we're going to chain 1 because we want to push the edge of row 1 out to create a little bit of a ridge, a flat bottom to make the snout really kind of stand out. Mr. InStitches, hello Mr. InStitches. Thank you so much for the super chat. Mr. InStitches is helping us along to our super chat goal. If we reach the goal today, I'm going to make another word search for everybody. It'll show up in the posts tab of our YouTube channel later this afternoon, and it'll include all of the cute names that we've kind of come up with for the pig today. Much like we did last Monday. That was a lot of fun. We did the cow. All right, cinch circle, cinch to join those 6 single crochets, join with a slip stitch, chain 1, and now we're going to single crochet around the post. So I want to press these forward, so we're going to single crochet around the backs of the post. So you take your hook, you bring it out through the next stitch, and then poke it back out through the stitch after that. And now the post of the stitch is up on the back of your hook or away from you, because we're single crocheting around the back of the post. And then you do it again, in through the next stitch that you came out of, and then out through the stitch next to that. That pops the post up, single crochet. Before I go any further, I'm going to make sure I put a cinch, or my little stitch marker, on the first stitch of the row so I don't lose track of it. Krista says, Jada, you have membership milestones and stickers everywhere. Yes, yes, and I'm pretty sure I've gotten them all. I had Kathy and Ronald Jones. We got all the way back to Masha, Kevin, Ronald and Kathy again. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm getting them all. And Mr. InStitches is sharing gifts all over the place here. All right, we're going to continue. Hook out from back to front through the next stitch, and then from front to back through the stitch after that. You're going to do this in each post all the way around. So you'll have 6 single crochets still. And what it does is it creates this nice little ridge. See this flat little ridge that shows up the very end? So you got more of a flat snout feeling. And the pigs definitely have like a very pronounced flat snout. You want to make sure you still have 6 stitches all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and looks like I might need to do one more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Nope, that's 6. Once you've done 6 single crochet around the post all the way around, you're just going to single crochet in each stitch all the way around. So you're not joining for row 3, you just single crochet directly into what was the first stitch, and you're single crocheting regularly now. So just regular single crochet, just 6 of them. You'll still have 6 stitches in the row. And I do recommend slip stitching around the post because it creates that nice flat edge, and it will make that snout a little more pronounced. And there we go. So I've got my little tail here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Once you get to the end of row 3, you can single crochet once more and then slip stitch into the next stitch. And I just say single crochet once more because it just kind of evens up the edge. of that little round snout, that cylinder that we're making. So single crochet all 6 and then single crochet once more. That kind of overlaps your first stitch area. Slip stitch into the next stitch. Leave yourself a tail for sewing. You don't need too much. Princess and Lord Pigglesworth. I love this. I'm going to write them down. Princess Lord Pigglesworth. Very fancy. Piggles. Piggle Wiggle. All right, Pansy. Oh, that's a good one. Piggle Wiggle and Pansy. Piggle Wiggle. Pansy. Pansy's a good one. All right, before we add the snout to the face, so you can sort of see that's the snout finished. This is the snout almost finished. We want to put these 2 little sort of marks on it because it makes it look like those little nostrils that they've got. So you don't need much black yarn. I'm going to cut about, 20 centimeters, 8 inches, and thread up one tail in my yarn needle. And I'm going to create 2 lines. Really simple. So yarn needle goes in right from the inside and it kind of pops out wherever. I'm going to leave a little tail out the back so that I can knot it. Makes it a little easier. I'm going to hold it. I'm going to come straight down, but I'm going to also take the needle and pass it on an angle underneath so it comes out opposite where it came out the first time. And I'm not pulling tightly. I don't want to risk having this disappear. There we go. And then straight down and right back out. Really simple. And then you can fiddle with sort of the tightness of it. Make it so that it looks the way you want it to. And knot those 2 ends together and you can just tuck them into the nose. Sandra says, Jada, did you say that the 4-weight snout was done differently? No, actually, the 4-weight snout was done exactly the way I just did it. Before I embarked on the plush version, I just was kind of hemming and hawing about whether or not I needed to work around the post with the plush version. I wasn't so sure it would show, but it does, and I think it looks excellent. So no change to the pattern, whether you're making the Amigurumi size 4 weight yarn version or the plush size. I do recommend single crocheting around the outside of the post for row 2 of the snout because it pushes row 1 forward and you get this nice flat surface that looks very snouty. And that's how it looks on the little Amigurumi. So you kind of have this flat thing. And then you can just sort of fiddle with your 2 lines if you want. And if you feel it needs a little bit of stuffing, it probably doesn't. You can add a little something to it. Go ahead and sew it immediately to the end over top of row 1 of the body. So you can basically do your best to hold it in place and stitch around. I like putting on the snout first because the whole thing is just a round ball right now. As long as you get it stitched around the first row, it doesn't matter what angle it's on. You can then put the eyes on and nothing will look amiss. So fit the end over top of what was row 1, hold it in place, and pick up the stitches of row 1. Get 1 or 2 stitches in and then it won't move as much on you, if at all. There's another one. And I'm going out through here. And you're basically just going to sew it down all the way around. And again, always just kind of keep making sure it hasn't moved on you. If you always use the next stitch along row 1, then it'll help keep it in the right shape. So I always like kind of peel back the little snout, find the next stitch along row 1. Hello, Chris. Chris with a super chat. Thank you so much. Hi, Jada. I love a word search. So do I. Thank you so much for contributing to the Super Chat goal, Chris. Really appreciate it. I've got this, I like my tablet. It's great, but there's this little, like, funny button thing on it that just interferes with the chat that I have to keep moving around. Kevin says, can you sew on the eyes? Yes, I'm using a couple of beads, so I will be sewing on the eyes. If you are using buttons or if you want to crochet and sew on eyes, you can do that too. Like I said in the last stream, if you're using safety eyes, that's probably, I'm assuming you've used them before and you kind of know that you have to put them in before you close up your pig body. But I don't like safety eyes in this kind of crochet because I feel like the gaps are just, it's too stretchy a fabric and the gaps are too big, and I feel like safety eyes just want to come out too easily. So I'm not a big fan of safety eyes. I much prefer sewing eyes in to a plushie like this. I just feel like it's safer. Once you've stitched all the way around, now we've got a definite little piggy shape happening here. This is this is really cute. Make yourself a little knot somewhere along the bottom. Doesn't have to be too fancy. I just knot it once, basically. Make sure that it's not going to come out. And then, just to make sure that it's secure, I weave my tail in through all of the stitches along, say, row 2. And that way I'm pretty sure that it isn't going to want to come undone. And if there's anything left over, I just pull it right into the body of the pig. Hello, Lady Crochet. Welcome. And welcome to everybody who's new, who's subscribed, who's just joined the family. Welcome, 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 and thank you for being here. There we go, a little porklet. It's so cute. I almost like it without the feet. Okay, just for fun, we can go ahead and put the eyes in right now, and that will really kind of give it its little personality before we move on. Kevin says, if you give it to a little baby, it will not be safe with safe eyes. Yeah, I don't recommend safety eyes on crochet plushies. It's just too easy to pull them out because the flat backing of a safety eye is meant to go into fabric. So toys made out of fabric that has a very tight weave that are less likely to be able to be pulled out through that hole. I mean, a dog can still do it. A very determined child can still do it, but they can come right out of crochet. So I don't really recommend safety eyes with crochet. I do recommend stitching in little beads or buttons or even crocheting eyes and putting them on. Hello, Lori. Thank you so much for the super sticker and the super chat. Lori says, cute piggy. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We are 7 out of 10. We are almost to our super chat goal. And we will create a word search for you guys a little later on today if we hit the goal. And thank you so much. And it's going to include all of the names of the pigs that we've been coming up with. Posh, Porklet, Roly Poly. I got to add these to the list too. Posh, Porklet. Oh my gosh. I'm going to have to make a really big one. These are a lot of names. Porklet, Roly Poly. All right, I'm going to sew my eyes on using a little bit of crochet thread. I did this the last time and I really liked it because it's strong and I can get my needle. I'm using 2 big pony beads. I might actually get a smaller needle for this. I'll use my slightly smaller crochet needle. Yeah, there we go. So I'm using 2 regular sized pony beads. These are those plastic pony beads that are in every kid's craft kit. They make decent little eyes for something like this. Hello, Charlene. Charlene with a super chat. Thank you so much for contributing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm going to take my needle with my threaded up crochet thread down through the top, because I'm going to make that, I'm going to do that whole like knot the two ends together thing again. I'm pretty sure I want my piglet eyes on either side of the snout, but kind of resting on top of the snout. So I'm going to bring my needle out right next to where I want the first eye to go. I'm going to leave some crochet thread up top so that I can bring, after I finish sewing in the eyes, I'm going to bring my needle out through the same place. And I'm going to sew it down once by sort of putting my needle underneath some loops of yarn, making sure that I get around a couple loops of yarn. I'm not going to sew it down. I'm not going to pull too tightly though, because I want to bring my needle out the other side. So right where I want the eye on the other side. And I'm going to do the same thing over there, just securing it by running my needle underneath a couple of stitches. There we go. And now I'm going to go back through here. So I like where these both are. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull that a little tightly. I'm going to pull this a little tightly. I'm going to go through out to one side of the eye, right through it actually. Because I'm using crochet thread, it's pretty strong, so I don't really feel like I have to keep I have to crochet or sew it down multiple times. And then I'm going to bring the tail back out, so right out through the same place that it came out of the first time, so I can knot those two ends together and pull it into the pig. Easy way to sew on buttons or beads. There we go. And you can pull on them to make sure they're kind of relatively even. Make the knot as tight as you possibly can. I did get Piggly Wiggly, yes. And maybe a couple times just to make sure that it's okay. Then I'm going to poke that down, and if that feels like it's too hard to find, I just grab my needle, thread those tails up, pull it into the body, and no trimming necessary. There we go. Okay, so the eyes are on, and now I can kind of fiddle with them a little bit. They're sewn around a couple of stitches, so I know that they can't. Now, if you're giving this to a child, I recommend sewing them down a little bit more. I do like using the crochet thread because it's mercerized, it's thicker and stronger. And now these eyes are really in there. They're not going to come out. I'm not giving this away. I'm keeping my little piglet. But if you are, and you are sewing in eyes, sew them in really, really well. You just don't want them to, you don't want to run the risk of them coming out. Okay, we have made the snout. We have added the eyes. It's time to make the feet. We need to make 4 feet. They're all absolutely identical. Hello, Vima. Vima's arrived. Hello, hello, hello. I've made 3 of these little feet already, so because they're all the same. So I'm just going to show you how the sort of they all look like this. They look like little balls, basically, sitting on the bottom of the piglet. Little simple to make feet. The pig can stand on them. Very simple little piggy foot pattern. So let me just put her to the side. Take your yarn, make a slip knot, or I should say a cinch circle. Excuse me. Make a cinch circle. And all 4 of these little feet are made exactly the same way. So once you've made your cinch circle, put 7 single crochets into the circle over top of that short tail. And once you've made 7, cinch it up nice and tight. Do not join the row, excuse me, you're going to just single crochet in each stitch all the way around for rows 2 and row 3. So very, very simple. Again, you can just leave that little short tail out and just have it end up being part of your stuffing. I'm going to put a stitch marker on stitch number 1 of row 2. I'm single crocheting in each stitch all the way around. There's no increasing. You're just making a little tiny 7-stitch bucket, basically. That was row 2, and row 3 is the same thing. Just single crochet in each stitch all the way around. That was my first stitch. 7 stitches in each row, row 1, row 2, and row 3. And then when you get all the way back around to your stitch marker, I'm going to put that stuff that little tail into the foot. I recommend single crocheting into what was the first stitch of the row, just to kind of even out the top, and then slip stitch into the next stitch. Fasten off, leave enough tail that you can sew the foot. You will want a little bit of stuffing for your feet. You don't need too much. But before we put the feet on, I think we should do the ears. So I'm going to put my 4 feet to the side, and we're going to do the ears. We want to make 2 ears. They're very, very small and very simple. Take your yarn, make a slip knot. So you are making a slip knot this time. Hello, Vima. Vima's been a member for 52 months. Thank you, Vima. Vima says, so cute. Pigs are cute. I think they're adorable. But just about anything's cute when you make it out of a plushy yarn. Joanne says, Jayda, you could have made the feet from the bobble stitch while making the body, no sewing then. I suppose. I feel like they would have been a little small. Plus, you would have had to have made sure that they were lined up, and I kind of like the length of these. Plus, they're squishy. But yes, you could try that. I'm not so sure I trust my ability to make 4 evenly spaced baubles and baubles that are big enough. I want like pretty distinct looking little feet. But yeah, I mean, you could try that. If you make it again and you try it, let me know how it works out. All right, after you've made your slip knot, you're going to chain 3. Slip stitch into the second chain from the hook and half double crochet into the last chain. And that is an ear. Fasten off, leave enough tail to sew the edge down. You really don't need that much. And then make a second one, excuse me, identical to that one. Slip knot, chain 3, slip stitch into the middle stitch or the second stitch or the second chain from the hook, and then half double crochet into the last chain. So you're just making a very tiny little triangular shape. You can snip that off too. Let's put her ears on, or his ears. I'm not really sure if it's a boy or a girl. Piggy is just generally cute. I can get that pink yarn out of the way. I am done with the pink yarn. So let's sew on the rest of his bits. The ears are small. They sit forward. I like to put them somewhere around between row 4 and row 5. So row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4, row 5. Kind of on an angle away from the eye. So I thread up the long tail and kind of decide that I think I like the way that looks there. So I'm going to take my needle and put it underneath a loop of a stitch and then poke it right back through the middle or the bottom of that ear. I'm making sure I'm getting the ear. I'm not splitting the yarn. And I feel like that's a good spot. So now I'm going to come right underneath, again, a loop. You can see I can pull my needle up and I'm not going to come through. And through the middle bottom of the ear. And one more out the side. And through the bottom edge of the ear, so really just 3 little stitches. And I'm going to tie those two short tails together. You know what? I'm going to pull that little short tail over here. There we go. I want to make sure it's in a good shape. There we go. And I'm going to tie those two little ends together just because it's easier to do that, and then I know it's not going to unravel. And then I'll pull both tails into the body of the pig, and I will do exactly the same thing on the other side. So there's little tail and then big tail. Kevin says, can you make one ear a different color if you want to? Of course. Of course. Lots of animals have ears that are different colors. That would actually be really cute. Oh, it looks like I caught the ear top of my ear. All right, let me pull that out and try it again. For some reason, I caught the top of my ear when I did that. That's funny. There we go, that's one. And I'll just weave the little tails in. There we go. So that's ear number one. I like the way it sort of sits out. They have a cute little ear, like pointed ear that kind of flips forward. And now we're going to do exactly the same thing with ear number two. I'm going to make sure that it's sitting exactly where I want it on the other side of his head, right on an angle off the eye. I'm going to thread up that long tail. I like no-sew when it makes sense, but I feel like when you're making a lot of amigurumi, some little pieces require very specific shaping. At least that's been my experience. I like the ability to shape a piece to get it to look exactly the way I want it. And then more importantly, to be able to put it precisely where I want it on the amigurumi when I'm finished. When you're making pieces as you go, you know, you're kind of working the ears and stuff into the, like some patterns really kind of lend themselves to that, but some other patterns I feel like they don't, or you lose something in the translation of the character. I don't know. I've got patterns where there is no sewing. I've tried them where there's no sewing. I've made them where there's no sewing, and I've done the opposite, like this little guy. All the little characters in this series actually, and I don't know. I kind of like them both. I like them both. I suppose it depends on the look I'm going for. And one more little stitch there. Okay, so then I've got this little ear. So they're both more or less right where I want them to be. I can tie these little tails together. Hello, Destiny! Welcome to the party! Thank you so much for the super chat. Destiny says, my friend's 500-pound pig was named Barbecue. Aw, a gentle giant. At carnivals, children would ride him. He was a pampered pig. He lived to be 23. What a sweet story. Oh my gosh, I love that. And thank you for contributing to our super chat goal. Barbecue. Well, I have to include that name now. Barbecue. Aw. Dark humor. I do like it. All right, I'm going to pull that one in first, and then I will pull the second one in, and then I will make sure both of them are woven in. There we go, got it. All right, so our little ears are on. Can make that one look a little more pointed and sort of flip it forward. we've got piggy body and tail, piggy snout, the eyes are on, the little ears are on, and now all we have to do is attach the feet. I do recommend putting a little bit of stuffing in the feet just so that they're firm and it stands up. And you don't need a lot. I'm just going to put a tiny amount in each of them. I've got a little bit more fabric here. I think what I'll do is I'll cut myself a strip and then split it into 4. And that should be enough. Let's find out. That's relatively thin. So that's half. Is that enough or too much? Let's find out. I think that's enough. That's the right amount right there. Yeah, I think that's enough. That makes them nice and firm without being able to see the stuffing through the sides. So I will cut another little length and split that in half. That seemed to work out well. All right, so I've stuffed my little feet with, I think, a significantly decent amount of stuffing. They feel firm enough that if the pig isn't very heavy, but the pig will stand up quite nicely on them. Doris, thank you so much for picking up a pattern. Victoria says, Big Mama Pig and Little Baby Pig suggestions from my granddaughter. That's cute. Yes, Big Mama and Baby. That's definitely what this looks like. All right, I want to make sure I'm sewing my feet onto the bottom of the pig. So once again, looking at it the right angle, I'm going to put all these little things out of the way. And just like I did with the cow, I want to take the side where the knot will finish and make sure that it's facing to the inside. And I will be bringing my sewing tails out through a middle space, knotting them together and pulling them back into the body so that there's no knotting at the side required. And if I'm not sure, I take the other, I'm just going to poke that in there for now. Make sure that I'm leaving enough space so that all 4 of my little feet will meet so that he stands on them evenly. So yeah, that looks like a good spot for foot number 1. And I'm going to grab a stitch on the pig and then a stitch along the side of the foot. And I'll keep making sure that I haven't moved it too much. We have a book recommendation from Old Lady Shops a Lot. I recommend the book The Good Good Pig by Cy Montgomery. It's a tearjerker, but it's super sweet. The pig's name is Christopher Hogwood. Oh, that's cute. Christopher Hogwood. Good name. The Good Good Pig. Aw. All right, that's 1 down. I'm going to take my needle and bring it out through maybe a space right here, pretty close by anyway. Excuse me. And then I'm going to go ahead and sew down the foot next to it, making sure that it's relatively in the same place and in the middle bottom of the body. I want the knot to end relatively in the same spot so that I can pull my yarn out through the same place as this one and knot the 2 together. Joya! Joya makes number 10. Thank you so much, Joya. We have hit our super chat goal for the day. That means we will definitely be having a word search for everyone later on in the post tab of the channel. Thank you so much. Thank you, Joya. Joya says, such fun. Thanks, Jayda. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for contributing. And thank you for being here. This has been a lot of fun. I am really enjoying this plushy Farm Friends crochet along series. I love making little stuffed toys. I think it is so much fun. Being able to make I still marvel at the concept of crochet in general. You take something that looks like this, that's basically this, and you can turn it into, among other things, something that looks like this. Like it's just, It's amazing. You're creating something three-dimensional with a little character out of something that's just a long string, basically. It's magic. I love it. Jessica Rabbit, that's some pig. Yes, that's some pig. What a pig. I just recently watched the movie Babe again over the Christmas break. And part of me really wants to name this little character Babe because I just love that movie so much. It's so cute and so sweet. Okay, so that's that one. I'm going to just... I've got both the sewing tails coming out of the same spot. I'm going to knot them together, pull them into the body, and that is the first 2 feet on, and then it's just the last 2 feet. There we go. Poke that knot down into the body. And if that feels like it's going to be annoying, just thread up the tails and pull them in through the same space. Dawn! Hi, Dawn! Dawn's been a member for 76 months. Goodness gracious. Thank you, Dawn. Dawn says, so adorable, Jayda. Farm Friends was so cute, little and big. I have to agree. I love them small, but I love them big too. There is just something equally cute about something that's extra mini and something that's like the macro version of that mini thing. I don't know what it is exactly, but there's the first 2 little feet are on. Now we're going to do the last 2. Same thing. I want to make sure that the tail will finish facing on the inside. And I'm going to tuck it in right up underneath the first foot so that they all sit underneath the body like that. Thread up the tail. And here we go. Sewing the next few feet on are always a little easier because of course you've got the first feet to use as a guide. If you've got to take off, thank you so much for spending some time with us. Thank you for being here. I know we all kind of pop in and pop out. I really love that about the live streams. So thank you very much for taking some time to hang out with us at all today. Really appreciate it. We're almost done here. Oh my gosh. Okay, so now I'm going to bring this one out back here. And I'm going to do the same thing. Stitch on foot number 4. There we go. Making sure that my little sewing tail is going to wind up in the middle, and I'm going to butt this foot up against the other foot in front of it. There we go. Masha says, Jayda, have you read or seen Charlotte's Web? Yes, I certainly have. I think it was mandatory reading for us in grade 4, I think. I know I remember the drawings in the book, and I remember the story, of course. Very, very sweet and sad. And it's very similar in a way to the story Babe, because this little pig is kind of fighting for its life in a way, you know, not to be eaten, basically. Pigs are very smart. Okay. That is the last 2 feet on. Let's take stock of where we're at. So I'm going to weave this tail in, or both of these little tails, or just do the easier route, thread up the 2 tails in my yarn needle and pull them into the body. There we go. Much better. There we go. All right. Oh my gosh. Again, it's magic. From this to this, I love it. It's amazing. It's literally magic. You combine math and some knots and you get a pig. Oh my gosh, it's hilarious. So here's our little Amigurumi, the original one, made out of a size 4 medium weight yarn and a G6 hook, and it stands, let's measure this little sweetie, about 3.5 inches tall, which means you should be about 7. Just over 6 for the big one. We've got a body, 2 feet, or I should say 4 feet, a little tail built right into the back end of the body, ears, snout, eyes. A little bit of extra embroidery, very small amount with the nose there, but mostly just pink yarn, which I like. And the plushy version is so cute, nice and squishy. I love the pointy little ears that sort of face downwards. Pigs have really cute little pointed curling ears. They kind of curl forward. And the snout really, I think, sells it. You've got like those 2 little busy working nostrils on a piglet. All right, everybody, thank you so much for hanging out. I've got sweet little, nice pile of names here, quite a lot. So this might have to be a bigger word search than the last one to accommodate all these names. A lot of them are P names, so there's going to be a lot of P's in that word search. Thank you so much for helping us achieve our super chat goals today. We will be doing the word search as a big thank you and a celebratory, I guess, I want to say like I'm picturing like a championship, kind of like a cup, you know what you win? We're going to do a word search. And the piggy pattern is part of the Farm Friends series. So both the chicken pig pattern or the entire Farm Friends ebook, 10th anniversary editions of both, are available for sale in the Etsy shop if you haven't picked them up and want to. They're on sneaky sale today. So thank you so much in advance if you do. And to everybody who's already picked it up, thank you. I hope you're having fun working through this plush version of the Farm Friends along with me. I don't know. I love the small mini version, the cow, the chicken, the pig, but there's something about the giant plushes that just crack me up. This was last Monday. So next Monday, we will be doing the horse. So if you haven't already, put it on your calendar. We will be doing the Farm Friends horse next Monday on the live stream. That'll be noon, I should say 11 o'clock Eastern. And that's 2 o'clock Pacific. No, that's earlier. It's earlier. 11 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Pacific. I am terrible at this. I'm trying to think it through it because we just turned our clocks forward and I'm already messed up. I'm sure if any of you had to do that, you are too. Okay, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us today. We will see you Friday for another video. And until then, have a wonderfully safe and crafty week. If you've got photos to share with us, the link to the Etsy shop's in the description box. Feel free to click that, pop over, send us a photo. Send us a message if you like, and we will see you guys soon, this afternoon, in fact, for the word search on the posts tab. Have a great day. We'll see you a little later, and moo, oink, cluck, cluck. Bye, guys.